Hello, my name is Rocco Strangio, and I'm the host of the Law, AI, and Money podcast. I bring on attorneys, engineers, and entrepreneurs to unravel the world of AI and to discuss how it'll affect the legal profession. Today, I'm joined with Jess Hoerman, the founder and CEO of SimplyConvert, and SimplyConvert's co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Marty Chrenka. SimplyConvert is an all-in-one legal intake and case management platform that helps convert potential clients, streamline case management from intake to resolution, and securely maintain claimant data for various real-time analyses. As well as being an entrepreneur, Jess Hoerman is an attorney, and she has used her experience in mass torts to help guide her work on SimplyConvert. We hope you enjoy our conversation. Hey, Jess, how you doing? Marty, how are you?
Sorry. Hi, Rocco. Great. Good to see you.
Guys, yes, nice to see you as well. I'm very grateful that you took the time to come on. Everything you're doing with SimplyConvert lines up perfectly with my podcast. I think what you guys are doing is amazing, and I'm so grateful you took the time out of your busy schedules to come on.
This is fun. Happy to.
Yeah. If in case you didn't know, when I do my introduction, I tell everyone that I bring on attorneys, entrepreneurs, engineers, and it seems like, Jess, you guys, you fit all of those boxes. You check all those boxes. So
I think
really,
you just called me old. No, that's fine.
As a mass tort attorney, as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, everybody should be listening to your intake and your insight. So thank you so much for coming on. Briefly, before we get into the tech, if you could just please give everyone a brief background on your experience in law and kind of set the stage what mass torts is for those of the people listening that don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess I am old. My first job outside of law school was international tax law. I was working at Deloitte. Did that for about 8 or 9 years. Lasted through 2 kids working at the big firm, and they wanted me to start traveling internationally. And I just, lots of women have been there, made that big decision of, do you start traveling internationally and hire somebody else to assist, or stay home? And I also happened to be married to a trial lawyer, so it was kind of an easy decision. I stayed home, actually had an entire different career as a mother, and I did that for 9 years and loved it. And then the timing was just perfect. My husband Tor had been in mass torts and has been in mass torts for a long time. The timing was right. It was time for him to start his own firm. And so he and I were business partners. He was in charge of all of the trials and, knows so much more about mass torts than me at that point. So I took on the task of bringing in clients, which at that time was a lot of learning about SEO, a lot of marketing. I did really well in that area, but what that means is it brings in a lot of clients and a lot of individuals that you maybe can't help. So I had to figure out intake, and I had to figure out how to do it efficiently, and because it was my business, without hiring millions of people. And technology was much different then than it is now. So I just started figuring out how we could do it and asking a lot of people, and ended up learning a lot. But what they were telling me, these so-called experts at that time, didn't make sense to me. And so I was lucky enough to have a neighbor, Marty, who I sat down with and said, Marty, does this make sense to you? Like, what is all of this? And he got tired of listening to me asking question after question about why would I need to do this rather than this. He just said, okay, stop. What are you trying to do? And he said, let's sit down. Tell me exactly what it is you're trying to do. And we did. we sat down, we broke it all down. What is your ideal situation? And, we couldn't find any solution on the market. So Marty built it. And
Yeah.
that's where we started. We started with intake, and we've lived in this mass tort world trying to make that client experience and my firm experience better. That's really how it started.
Wow. I think that background in mass torts and seeing how it works foundationally, set the stage for where SimplyConvert is right now. Getting into the tech, because this is an AI podcast, there's so much talk about AI, not just in the legal field, but everywhere. It seems everybody's racing to claim that they have some sort of AI solution. What should lawyers be on the lookout amidst all of this talk surrounding AI?
Well, for me, I don't go looking for AI, first of all. And what you're looking for is making your business more profitable and efficient. Are you guys hearing this? Sorry.
No, you're good.
So that's the one thing that I would say is don't go looking for AI, and don't let people tell you need AI. What you need is efficiency in your business and more profitability. And in turn, that gives your clients a better experience. So that is where I would start. But Marty, I think you could probably answer this question in a little more AI detail.
Yeah. So for me, I think we're moving to kind of from kind of a tool phase, kind of a that was neat phase, into more of a, okay, this is actually a useful phase. I feel like with this generative era that kind of hit the world so quick, everybody just kind of said, wow, that's incredible. Every company said, we need to use that. And most companies did. They provided some sort of generative solution or generative tool. And then voila, they had an AI solution. Sometimes investors would throw millions of dollars at those things, but some of them may have been useful. Many of them were not. And I think 2024 is kind of a building year for the industry. And I think we're going to move into more, like I said, more useful things. We're going to shift from the generative kind of era to an actionable era where AI can do things for us. And as you know, on the mass tort side, I think it's important that it's able to do those things at scale and bulk. I also think we need to move from kind of a singular phase to more of a big data, huge amounts of data. People are very, very good at finding examples of how to analyze a single case or make a single job easier using a few documents. But I think that the technology is there, and we will move into a phase where we can do substantiation, we can do research and analysis on thousands of documents, hundreds of thousands, even millions. So I think we're moving into an actionable era with huge amounts of data. And people really aren't doing that well just yet. At least I haven't seen it. So I'm excited to get into that phase and see some of them.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of innovation in the coming years. That's for sure. Staying on the topic of mass torts, and Jess, Marty, either of you can answer this. What are some of the common pain points in mass torts that you foresee AI being a potential solution for?
Anything repetitive. And we started with intake. Intake is clearly every law firm should look at as one of the locations that you can really get more efficient at. And the nice thing about intake is a lot of law firms, a lot of mass tort firms have hired a lot of individuals to do intake over the years. Those people are very knowledgeable about their businesses, and they can be relocated into more of a role of retention. And the cool thing about our replacement of individuals, as many individuals, in intake and pushing them to retention is we have really experienced individuals that have been able to retain clients in the firms we're working with. And that's why you're going to hear a lot more in Mass Torts about retention rather than intake, because now you've got the humans that are interested in how do we hold on to those clients? And that's not the place that you throw AI. Humans want to talk to humans. So that's the place where you throw your really talented people. That's an easy one. But, you know, going down the line in the life cycle of a client and of a mass tort, there's so many more places. There's the taking the data and turning it into whatever form is needed. There's no humans that need to be involved with that. And Marty's made it real easy to instantly push out whatever forms, or connecting to either the court's website or the courts or the defense attorneys. All of this information can be automated and sent. And so there are, and all the way to settlement, which you know about. I mean, we can get you guys ready earlier to pay these clients. And so the entire process from intake to payment is instantly cut in half in time, and it's cheaper for us to do. It's a better client experience. There's no better place in mass torts to see AI just flourish.
I completely agree. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, when people talk AI in law, I think they immediately think of AI judges or research. Right. You know, traditional litigation we see in pop culture. But with mass torts, there's so much more involved in each case. Like, let's point to one of the biggest litigations potentially ever, Camp Lejeune.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many hurdles with claims origination. You know, one of the things, and I listened at the roundtable yesterday where I found this out, but talking about, you know, because for somebody to bring a Camp Lejeune case, they have had to been exposed to contaminated water for at least 30 days between 1953, I think, and 1987 or something.
Right.
30 years.
Yeah.
And I know there's issues, though, with seeing where people were actually stationed. Like the muster rolls can only give us so much.
Right.
And I know you guys are using technology to sort of filter that out. How do you see that shaping the Camp Lejeune litigation, AI?
You know, it's everything for us, because you're talking about a scale of $250,000 to potentially up to $1 million when you take into account all the pro se clients. There could be up to $1 million and maybe even more. I doubt that many will actually continue, but it could be. And so there is absolutely no way a human can take care of this, or even a group of humans that can do the data of substantiating exactly what you just said, 30 days and 30 years. You know, when all of these clients were signed up and started talking to lawyers, all they had to tell them was, yes, I was there for 30 days, or yes, even more, my grandfather was there for 30 days. You're talking about individuals that have to substantiate being at Camp Lejeune in 1953 and 4, and we're talking about right after the Korean War. I mean, this is not like you can go to your bookshelf and get your grandfather's info and just give it to us to prove. So yeah, you're right. The muster rolls. I just thought of this analogy, Rocco. Tell me if you like this, because I really think that this is what the muster rolls to me are like finding a puzzle piece. It's like the muster roll is literally a roster of all the individuals that are at Camp Lejeune at any given day. And they're not consistent. They're done by unit. And a really good muster roll is going to tell you the battalion, the regime, the regiment, not the regime, the battalion, the regiment, the unit. They're going to tell you the date the Marines were there, and they're going to tell you the location. Because these muster rolls are not just at Camp Lejeune. A lot of them are following the Marines. And as you know, during those years, we're talking about the end of the Korean War, Vietnam, Lebanon. My grandfather was at Camp Lejeune right after World War II. So this is a lot of movement of Marines. And so the muster roll, whether you find your client, or whether the pro se client finds their relative at, say, a ship that is somewhere in the Mediterranean, and that's where the cruise book or the muster roll is found. That's just a piece. That's going to tell you all of the information you need to know about the person. I like to think of that as like the box of a puzzle. You see now what you're putting together. That individual can be like, okay, this person was in 2nd Marines, 3rd Battalion. He moved with 1,500 Marines. What does his movement look like? So then you go back and you go and gather this data that is the history of the Marines. The muster rolls and the history of the Marines are data that apply to every client that we're talking to. And to gather that data into a database run by AI is so much more efficient and honestly the only way we can do this. And so once you get that little piece of information for one Marine and you know exactly what 1,500 people he's moving with, you go back and you start putting your puzzle together. And then the first puzzle you put together for that one Marine is difficult, very difficult. But then every other Marine that follows after is easier and easier and easier, like redoing a puzzle you've done a million times. And that's what our goal is in terms of non-technical terms, but I'm sure Marty's going to make it very complicated.
Yeah. So Marty, how does the tech work in something like that?
Well, thanks to vectorization and semantic search, not to get too low level, but it allows huge amounts of data to be searched, not for exact matches, which is kind of the old Google search methodology, but for similarities, things it can go through. This vectorization search can go through tremendous amounts of data in milliseconds and pull out only those pieces of data that are similar to what you're searching for. Maybe not exactly what you're searching for, but that similarity allows the right data set to be given to these models, like a large language model, ChatGPT, for example. You can give it, hey, I'm looking for this answer. Use this data. Here it is to give me this answer. So that is the concept that makes all this possible, along with some very advanced OCR tools that are scanning text in very smart ways. Like I said, these muster rolls are 70 years old. You should see them. You have seen them. They're just almost impossible to read with the human eye.
And that's one of the issues. Like, this is such an old litigation, not an old litigation, such an old injury. Right. These documents are not digitized. Like, AI can pull records that are digitized like that because, you know, it's, I don't know the technology behind it, but it's simple. We know common sense that it can just read it better. A lot of these documents are a little bit tarnished. They're old, smudges. It becomes difficult for the AI system if it's not trained properly to read them.
Not only old, but some of these documents are just plain gone. So we not only can't read them very well with OCR, or OCR does read them, but we can't read them very well by the naked eye. But we're having clients that have to rely on other individuals to fill in the blanks because their records are non-existent. And that's, I mean, the National Archives, actually in St. Louis, had fire and they moved, and there's boxes that are missing, and over again we hear these records are just not available. We can't rely on the fact that a muster roll is going to save the day without sorting through all this other data. So yeah, AI is the only way we can do it. Thank God we're bringing this Camp Lejeune litigation now and not 10 years ago. We would have been stuck in a room with boxes, and any mass tort lawyer that has been here for a while knows what that's like. It is not fun. We are very thankful for AI.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of touched on it now. What's been the feedback with a lot of attorneys using SimplyConvert for their mass torts?
Oh my gosh. I think it's almost overwhelming to some because it depends. It depends on who I'm talking to. Those mass tort lawyers that have been here for a while, a little hesitant to move away from their people heavy work process. But those that use it are shocked at how, I think the thing that they're most shocked about is that their clients want to use it. So the thing that is, that we have actually benefited from is during COVID, even these older folks in Camp Lejeune specifically, we're talking about a lot of older people, got used to using portals, health portals specifically, and, learning how to sign up to get shots at their Walgreens, which you could only do online. Those of you that had parents or grandparents during COVID probably helped them learn that. We all did. But now we're looking forward, and that's all they want to use. They're used to it. They're used to getting all their information online through a secure portal. They trust it more. And that's made our work a whole lot easier because we're not convincing lawyers anymore. The clients are convincing lawyers. I want to use that. I don't want to hear from you on the phone anymore. I want you to securely place all of my documents in a portal and get it to me so that I can look at it when I have time. And so it's, lawyers that earlier pushed back are coming to us saying, I need help understanding how I can get them information this way. So that's mostly what. Now, do we have other lawyers that are still pushing back? Yeah. There's still lawyers that say, I'm older, my practice is older. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to continue to work in the way that I've done it. My clients like to hear from me, and they like the letters, and they like, there's certainly some people that will never change, but, I hate to be cruel, but those lawyers that choose that are going to be moved out of their market by younger, more tech forward. I don't even mean younger. Hell, I'm old. I mean, anybody that gets on this, I invited you to do that, Rocco. Sorry. But tech forward lawyers of every age will take over markets that are filled with people that don't want to think about how to be more efficient and cheaper. And so, once a lawyer gets on board understanding this route, it's fun to watch.
But to be a devil's advocate, there's a little bit of a learning curve that comes with adopting a system like this, right? It's not just overnight. No?
No, because we all use practice management systems. I mean, very few lawyers now exist in a world where they're using tabular forms. Some may still use spreadsheets, Google Docs, Google Drives, things like that. I feel for them. But, most of us use practice management systems, and I'm not going to name names, but some of these practice management systems are so unuser friendly that jumping onto SimplyConvert is not hard. And we push directly to their practice management system. So even for those that don't use us for the entire to settlement, they don't really notice us because they're working with us in the practice management system. So, it depends on how much you want to use the system for. We're here to teach, but we don't really hear that as a complaint, as in it's hard to use. Once they're in it.
Seems like they just adopt it right away. That's perfect. That's one of the biggest things I would say generally with technology, AI especially, is that there seems to be a little learning curve with adopting it. I know you guys have also spoken at a few trial law conferences on AI. What's been what reactions are you getting from attorneys? I know the clients are, that's the biggest thing. And it's funny you bring up the portal before, because we also adopted a portal to pay out.
I know, we pushed to you. You guys are awesome.
And it seems like you're so right. Like, claimants, I guess, are the ones who have to make the decisions on whether they like this or not. I think attorneys, yes, they get caught up in their practice. They're also subject to many ethical guidelines and rules. It's very strict. And so, if we can cut the mass tort practice in half, which is the main concern of many.
You don't mean the lawyers in half. You mean the time, right? You're not going to be too
I would never
popular.
cut a mass tort lawyer in half. Yeah, if we could cut the process in half for these claimants, like that's everything for them, because we get calls all the time. You know, claimants are tired. It's a long process. Hopefully Camp Lejeune is not that.
Right.
But with AI, at least we're making the system better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, looking ahead to the future, what kind of solutions can mass tort lawyers expect from SimplyConvert? Do you guys have innovations on the way that you're looking to implement?
All the time, because just like tech is improving, you know, we are a tech company that's staying above it, thoughtfully, making sure that what we do is helpful to the ultimate client, who is the legal consumer. So we're always making sure that makes the most amount of sense, not just jumping into AI because it's cool, although it is cool. I love it in my own personal life. But the things I'm looking forward to are making sure that experience for the legal consumer from beginning to end is seamless. And that probably means being on a single platform, if not making sure that platforms that are integrated do so seamlessly. And so that's the part that every day I get excited about, either adding other platforms that work with us seamlessly or expanding where we fit in. You know, we have gone from just being an intake platform to being intake through payment platform, but we didn't do that alone. And we did that with a lot of thoughtful tech. And so Marty will explain it in more tech terms, but there are just every different area within mass torts. Take medical, take drawing complaints up, take communications with courts, everything from the beginning to the end of an actual mass tort is possible with the right technology. You can have it all happen. There's one thing where you're having it happen with the law firm, but so that the consumer, the legal consumer, doesn't feel all this different bouncing around. That's where I just get excited about. We can do this. We can make this so simple for them, and we can make it so much more efficient. But that's the tech.
Yeah, it'll make mass torts more possible for claimants to enter into and get the recourse that they deserve.
Well, and you know, one of the struggles that mass tort law firms deal with is just how many clients can we help? And, you know, I know that there's a lot of bad blood out there about the amount of advertising that happened about Camp Lejeune. But ultimately that advertising stopped because there's only so many mass tort lawyers that can assist people. Technology like this allows us to assist everyone. And one of the heartbreaking things any mass tort lawyer will tell you is when you get a client that comes to you after settlement and you know that they had a great case and you could have assisted them and they're out money, and you have to turn them away. Well, I see the future as more being able to help everybody, and not just from the standpoint of we can feasibly help everybody on our platform and portal, but data is the future, and we can actually reach everybody in the future. We don't necessarily have to go out there and advertise and get Congress pissed off if we have access to everybody. And a platform like SimplyConvert, who's been out here for a long time, has a lot of data. And so I'm excited about so many different ends of assisting people. It's kind of this access to justice obsession that I have. We also talk about, I mean, like we talk about, the larger firms often get people that contact them and say, can you help me with my immigration? What is a mass tort lawyer going to do to help somebody with immigration? Well, today we can by pushing them immediately to an immigration lawyer. And that client doesn't have to know that they went from my firm to your firm. They can just be automatically referred if that person qualifies to be assisted. We can also pair up with clinics, with different, all sorts of different things, just through being interconnected and having all of this technology smoothly integrated. And that's my future. Marty, I'm rambling.
No,
Marty,
I think that, yeah, Marty, you can chime in too.
Oh, I would just add that, now that I've been working with mass tort lawyers for a little while now, and one of their biggest problems they seem to have is managing too many cases, and that comes back to staff. With the advent of AI, a lot of times I'll talk to an attorney and they want to do the same amount of work with less staff, and I always kind of suggest, well, wouldn't you rather have the same amount of staff and have more cases, be able to work up those cases that you can't do today. And to me, that's what we're all about, is helping staff more easily substantiate their cases, because they can increase their workload. And I mean, let's be honest, the money's not in saving on overhead, it's on more cases. So I think our goal in the future is to help substantiate cases. I have this concept in my mind of auto-substantiation, where given the records, which are typically how everything is substantiated, can AI wade through those records, find everything it needs, and give the attorneys, this is a case because of this, and this from these documents on these pages. And at some point, I hope we can move into something like self-substantiation, where a client can go into their portal, upload the requested documents, and there'll be a checklist of, you qualify for this, and this. You're still missing this. You might want to look in this document. So that's where I see us headed.
Rocco, can I just real quick, sometimes Marty talks in tech terms, and my mass tort friends may not have caught exactly what he just said.
Yeah.
But when I talk about what Marty just said, it blows people's minds. So what we're talking about is, we would be working with the MDL or the leadership, the state leadership, whoever it is that's leading a litigation of any kind. And we would say to them, what do you need to prove a case? Which we do now. But what we do now is answers to questions. So now what we would say is, what do you need? Well, we need proof that an individual was exposed to Roundup, and we need proof that they have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay, great. We're not going to send you this client until we have either a picture of Roundup or the name of the individual you bought from Roundup, whatever that restriction that what the leadership tells us we need, that will be in that person's portal. And we'll have the medical document that says this individual was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma on this date. And even as small as this date, there may be a statute of limitations that we're having to deal with. So that will be analyzed too. And they go from having to analyze, let's say 1,000 cases and then go and find out how many of these actually qualify, to getting, let's say, 250, and they already qualify. That is a mass tort lawyer's dream. You go ahead and get all this information so that I can spend my time actually deposing and going to trial and everything that is truly the job of a mass tort lawyer. They don't have to worry about, do I have real cases? Have they actually? This is not only a mass tort lawyer's dream, but defense attorneys and courts, because now all of a sudden they can trust the data we have. We don't have 1,000 leads. We have 250 real clients. Let's get to settlement now. And I mean, that's in the very near future, according to Marty.
Yes. That's, and
the
not
other
just
cool
for the, Yeah, Marty?
I was gonna say, the other cool thing about that concept is, these records, the doctor's notes and all these things in these records, they don't necessarily tell you the smoking gun. If an attorney's looking for ovarian cancer, there's 30 different ICD-10 codes for ovarian cancer in 30 different ways that doctors write that down. So I feel like today, people are looking for that exact keyword in these records, and it takes staff to go in and say, well, I found this or that, it's close. But with AI, it can tie all the stuff together for us and go in and pull out all these obscure doctor's notes and help really find those cases we're looking for with no staff.
I think
It's
that's
so
so
exciting.
important for everybody. Yes, it's amazing for two
It's
reasons.
so close. Yeah, it's just so close. And it's been so long in the making. We've been waiting for, I mean, we've been sitting in this mass tort space, improving all the time with the technology we have. But the technology that is in our hands now is light years ahead of where we were when we started. And it's just so exciting.
I know. Improving access to civil justice is the best thing we can do.
Absolutely.
And ensuring that people who think they have cases is another important thing. We don't want people going through the process. You know, they're waiting all this time. Maybe they're taking on litigation funding, and then it comes to it doesn't come to fruition, their case. It turns out that they don't actually have a viable case. That's one of the most heartbreaking.
We should do a whole podcast on access to justice and litigation funding. We can't even, if we go down that road, we'll be talking forever.
I know. But I just love it. I love that, you know, maybe there's a future where people don't even know they have a case and, you know.
Well, that's what Marty just said in his own tech terms. That's exactly his dream. He would like to be able to sort out what it is they tell us and say, hey, did you know that this is what you actually qualify for? That's his dream, that big database that just collects enough information about a person to say, no, you may not qualify for this, but you do for this. And here's the lawyer that's running this. You should talk to them. And have that all happen without somebody even like thinking, oh, I better call that person. It just happens. It's easy.
Even what you guys do with the referrals, that's just improving access to civil justice, finding attorneys for these people, because an absurdly low amount of people actually litigate their claims. I think it's something like 10% of individuals actually seek out some sort of.
We're working against some very huge lobbyists. And so it's this image of what we do is that we are just going to court and suing everybody we can. And, you know, I think mass tort lawyers are some of the noblest out there, taking on these very large companies that cost a lot of money and we lose a lot. I mean, it's not the easiest job and you have to live and budget and, you know, it's really hard. But then on top of it, we have an entire industry of lobbyists that are saying that we're money hungry and we're just out there blocking justice and suing people for no reason. And it resonates. It resonates with the public. And it's very difficult to move forward with that, you know, to try to reach 100% of the individuals that qualify with that constant chirping of we're bad people. And so I do think the data will solve that as well, because again, 90% of the people may be getting assistance now because they're afraid. They think that they're doing the wrong thing. And, you know, the Seventh Amendment says otherwise. You have the right to go and compensate yourself for your losses. So, you know, this is the referrals, the ability to reach people in different ways. This is going to assist us tremendously with the access to justice problem.
And hopefully it improves society as well. I hear it all the time with, you know, ambulance chasers, this and that. I think maybe people lie to themselves, but there's cases everywhere because there's wrongdoing everywhere. You know,
and the only thing that stops these large corporations from continuously harming people are the lawyers.
They're regulating the system
out there that scare them. And we don't even really scare them that much because we're just a business expense. And you watch the stock market go up as soon as they take care of us, their stocks go flying. Yeah. And so, I mean, this is absolutely an area that can benefit so hugely. And I don't mean just mass torts. I mean, justice, civil justice can benefit so much from technology that I know that it makes it such a passion of mine because I can see the future getting bright quickly.
And the cool thing is, Jess, the mass tort attorneys, but also you guys developing the technology to filter this data and substantiate claims. Maybe that's going to be the push that we need to get regulation enacted through Congress. You know,
maybe. I don't know.
Open people's eyes.
Congress lately?
Yeah, maybe that was a little bit too.
That was pretty ambitious. We'll see. Let's revisit that in a few years. Let's see.
Yeah. But again, thank you guys so much for coming on. You guys are very busy with everything, your business, obviously everybody's personal lives as well. I'm very appreciative you took the time to come on, and hope that everybody took something from this conversation, because I thought it was really great.
This was fun, Rocco. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks you so much. Thank you, Marty. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Law, AI, and Money podcast. If you enjoyed our conversation, be sure to like and subscribe so we can keep the conversation going. Thank you.